Coming to you from Michigan, USA, and listened to by people all over the planet. Get ready to be safe and sound with Sean Sparkman.
Never take your eyes off your opponent, even when you bow.
Welcome to the Safe and Sound podcast. I'm your host, Sean Sparkman. Really excited today to be talking with my Aunt Mo. My Aunt Mo is known by a number of different names. So
Yes.
what do you go by, Aunt Mo?
Well, they call me Maureen, really, is my real name, Maureen. And they call me Mo Money. And a little bit of Mo you get, the Mo you want. So there's a lot of different Mo's.
Yeah, you're a G-Mo too.
I'm a G-Mo. That's Grandma Mo, but they call me G-Mo. I'm a gangster grandma.
Yeah, my son even calls her G-Mo. We went down and
Everybody
visited
calls
them
me
last
G-Mo.
year. Yeah, and G-Mo is a lot of fun, and she has a really interesting life story. She's a business owner, and she built that whole business from the ground up, right?
I did. I did exactly that.
So can you tell people a little bit about your backstory that led you to the business that you're in now?
Sure. I'm a true entrepreneur. I've had a paper out since the age of 12, 250 customers. I had my own business at 16, doing landscaping. I actually made $15 an hour back in the 70s.
That's a lot.
That was a lot back then, because minimum wage was, I think, $3.75.
Yeah?
Yes. So I did a bunch of big estates. I would plant the flowers and weed the gardens, and I just did it with flyers on the car, and I got tons of calls. And from there, it went for 7 years. And then after that, I decided I should get out of that business and move into something else. So in 1986, AT&T deregulated, which was a monopoly they had on all the phones. Once they deregulated, I got to sell long distance, and the long distance came out with many different companies. I had tons of payphones making 35% of all the long distance.
Wow.
I had them everywhere, Sean.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Everywhere. And then I moved to Maine, and I got married and moved to Maine, had 2 children, and when I got there, I noticed by 1995, all the payphones were disappearing. Literally, they were disappearing.
I don't remember the last time I saw a payphone.
People were taking them out like water, and cell phones were coming upon us. So I thought, oh, my business is going to be gone, which that happens with technology. So I decided to answer ad in the paper, and I started selling ATM machines. Well, they were $17,000, my first one.
Wow.
And instead of using my money, which of course I didn't have a lot of, I used other people's money, and I did just that. I got a leasing company to lease them for me, and I had the merchant fill out the lease on his credit. I'd go buy the machine, take my cut, and bring the machine to him. And then I made 50 cents a transaction. So I started selling those. I had 3 children at that time, and all 3 of them got in the car. We went door to door, in the snow, in the snow now, deep snow, and selling ATMs.
Well, when you say deep snow, where were you?
I was in Maine. I was in
'cause
Portland, Maine.
you grew up here in Michigan.
I grew up in Michigan. I moved to Maine because I'm a skier, so I thought I'd try that.
Yeah, so what was Maine like? I mean, you're
It
3
was
kids, and
it was
how old were
interesting.
you at the time?
How old was I?
I'm sorry, how young were you?
How young was I? 35?
35.
35?
35, 3 kids, entrepreneur.
Yeah, I moved to Maine about 35, 36.
Okay.
Well, I had Thomas at 37, so it had to be 35 because Thomas was born in Maine. He is a Maynard. I know, I'm a Maynard.
I remember visiting you in Maine, and one of the coolest things that I experienced was we were there in the dead of winter, and I remember sitting out back on your porch, and the trees would fall, and it would sound like windows were just shattering.
It was ice.
Yeah, because the trees would all be iced from top to bottom.
It was quite an interesting place to live. There wasn't a lot of different types of people, really just one type of person. It was just the white folks. There was nothing else there. It was interesting. My kids got to, when we moved to Georgia, they got to really learn about different cultures, which they didn't get to learn in Maine.
Yeah, and so you moved from Maine to Georgia, and you basically sold and serviced ATMs up and down the whole East Coast
Right.
along the way, right?
Yeah, so one day I woke up and I said, wow, I really wish I knew how to sell these quicker. And I started calling on wholesalers. I had wholesalers in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York, and in Massachusetts. And those wholesalers, I'd go train their reps, and my kids would actually go with me to train them. And we'd train them, and then they would call me when somebody was interested in an ATM, and that made my fax machine was a rolled paper fax machine. I was having dinner one night, and me and the kids were like, "What's that noise?" We went downstairs. I had so many orders on my machine that there was like 19 in one day from all these different wholesalers sending me orders for ATM machines.
I love it. And
just went crazy.
They just
for
show
me.
up on a fax machine.
We were having
so
dinner.
it's so foreign to today, right?
It is, and it was rolled paper, so it just kept going. So I had to split each order and cut them. So me and my kids were like, "Wow, Mom's selling!" And we did have a lot of fun selling. Megan would say, "If you buy an ATM from my mom, we would have lunch today." Because I'd tell her, after we sell one, we'll have lunch or go play in the snow or go to the mall or something.
So you're from a family of 7.
And
which rank are you on the
I'm
number
the
7
third
chart?
oldest. I'm the peacemaker in the family.
Yeah, so the reason I mentioned that is you're the only one that's actually moved out of the state of Michigan. Everybody else has stayed in Michigan. So what led you to decide, it's time to go, I want to leave Michigan and explore the rest of the world?
Well, when I was 23, I just knew Birmingham really wasn't for me, to be honest. It just wasn't for me. I wanted to go explore. So I moved to Colorado, sold homes there, moved to the mountains, skied, sold timeshare there. Then I came back to Michigan. I sold advertisement when I came back. And then eventually I got married and moved to Maine. And then from there, I was in Maine 5 years, I moved to Georgia. I just like to experience different parts of the country, and I've never experienced anything in the South, and nobody even talked about the South in the North, so, except for the Civil War. But besides that, we went south, and it was very interesting. People were so nice. It's like, "How are you doing today? How's everybody treating you?" It was kind of interesting that they would say that to you.
Yeah.
Because up north, they really don't care. They don't seem to care that much.
So now you're in Florida.
And now I also bought a vacation home in Florida. I bought a couple. Just another investment. I would start making investments. I went down there to do a trade show, and I bought a home.
Yeah. And I mean,
and you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful place.
It.
We got to visit every single year, and we always got our time with Aunt Momo.
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun.
If you can tell, she is absolutely hilarious. So wherever she goes, people are always laughing.
And we always have fun because we go to Crab Island, and I'll tell you, Crab Island has thousands of boats out there, and it was an old island at one time, but the water's up to your knees, and I'll tell you, it's really fun.
So on a little more serious note, what was it like being a mother and running a business at the same time?
It's called organization. It was easy for me because I am a morning person. As I told you, I was up early every day when I was young. So getting up early, the early bird gets the worm. So I get up, I get these kids dressed, and we're out the door. I had the appointments made the night before, and we go to the appointments, and I cold call on the way. It was easy, really. It was easy. It was weird that it was so easy.
Yeah, that's not the normal story.
I know, but it was easy for me. But you knew it was easy for me.
Yeah.
I just was organized, and the kids, they listened.
So you're getting to that point in life where things may or may not change in the future, and I'm just curious because I've never talked with you about this. Like, what does the next stage of your life look like now that your kids are grown, they're out of the house? And
that's funny you say that.
What does it look like?
Because I don't have a goal now. Now I'm 63, in case you're wondering. but I'll tell you, I don't have my goals. I've always had these goals and achieved them. I don't know what my next goal is going to be yet. I'm thinking about it. I'll probably have another business, which we did just open another business called Just Rent and Drive. And we're renting cars down in Miramar Beach, Florida, and they're renting because there's no cars to get there. So that's kind of a fun thing. My son actually opened the business, and I was helping him with that. I think my next step is I'm probably going to buy a storage unit. I'm a residual income lady, so I can sit here and do this with Sean, so I'm not at work punching in and punching out. The money just keeps flowing with residuals. It does. Yeah. So if you think about it, I mean, if you want to be able to retire, you have to be able to still be making money.
Are you going to retire, though?
I'd probably be a little bored. But I am kind of retired a little bit now.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like my dad. My dad can never retire.
Yeah. I love thinking business because I'm a business person.
I think it's about purpose. And I talk about with my clients a lot about this when we're doing income planning for retirement. Is like, what is the next stage? What is your purpose going to be? Because a lot of people, even if they love to golf and fish, you can do that a lot, but most people need to have something that's a little bit more substantial. Like you said, you called it a goal. But really, it's not just a goal, right? It's a purpose of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, because you're a driven person.
Right. Well, I do make some art, and the art, it's like broken glass. I put it on things, and I want to start selling closet art. So like I'll put a Marilyn Monroe out there, and decorate her. Somebody will buy it for the closet.
I didn't know you were going to do that.
Yeah, we want to sell it for $15,000 because I saw them being sold for that, and I can make them. So, yeah, that's a new idea I have.
Interesting. So,
I come up with new things.
I want to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
So, you have a grandson, and I know you'll probably have more grandkids at some point. Is there something that you would like to share with, say, your grandson that as an adult he can learn from and take and do something with his life with? A piece of advice or whatever you think.
There was one advice my dad always gave us, and it was if there was a will, there was a way. And growing up in a household of 7, you didn't get anything. You didn't really get any advice, nor did you get a college education. You didn't get anything. You just had to figure it out yourself. And I remember my dad always saying, I can do that because I have a will. But really, better than that, I was driven. If you have a drive, it doesn't matter if you go to college and get all A's. If you don't have a drive, what good is it? It's all about being driven and getting up early. You can't start your day at noon. It just doesn't work that way. Half the day is gone.
Well, I really like that, and it's so funny because growing up, my mom said that constantly, where there's a will, there's a way.
Well, my dad
where there's a will, there's a way. I didn't know
is-
that came from your dad.
Yeah, now it did. It came from my dad.
Oh,
Definitely
that's
came-
cool.
my
That's
dad
a new
always
thing I
said
learned
that.
about my
Yeah.
grandfather today.
Yeah, he always said that. He was a good man. And then you have to keep the Lord also close by. I know we all get mad at him at times, but the closer he is, the more you will achieve. Now, I do know one thing. There is no such thing as good luck. It does not exist. But I will tell you this. Hard work meets opportunity, which creates your good luck. And when people say they have good luck, it's because they worked really hard to get to that luck. And if you want good luck, all you got to do is remember, hard work will meet the opportunities, and the opportunities will bring you the luck.
I
And
like that.
that's what I always went by.
No, that's a good one.
You didn't know that?
No, I haven't heard you say that one before.
But it's true.
That's cool. Aunt Mo, you have a couple of different businesses now.
I do.
You're doing credit card processing, you have the ATMs, and obviously you have the car business, and your son Dylan works with you, and of course your husband Chris. So with those businesses, what is the next step moving forward with them? What does it look like? Because things are changing, right?
Right. So where we live in Florida now, it's vacation land, and so I'm going to buy a house and start renting them out. That we are going to do. And if you'd like to join us, you can help us.
Okay.
We'd love him to help us do it because Dylan's looking at you to help.
Yeah, I know. We've had that conversation.
My son and Sean are the same age, basically, and they're little entrepreneurs, and they work well together. We're very proud of them. So what you can do with him, now I really don't need to do so much for me, but I like to join in doing stuff with you guys, with the young kids. So
that's awesome.
And if we could buy a home, fix it, and we don't even need to fix them, we just rent them. Vacationers come down and rent them.
Well, as we're wrapping up here, there's a question that I ask everybody I have on the podcast, and is there something that I should have asked you that I didn't think to ask?
Well, there is one thing. When you start making money, you got to remember your money is got to make you more money. So people take their money and they don't realize if they keep that money working for them, you'll always have a job. So because you always got to manage it. And there's one thing you have to remember, which I've told my kids, is you are the CEO of yourself. So if you need a job or wherever you go, you're selling, and you are your own CEO of your own brain. And if you can control your brain to do what you need done and wake up every day and be driven and have the Lord on your side, you're all set. You will be successful. That's all it takes, really.
Well, you've had some great pieces of advice today. Some of them I've heard before and some I haven't, but if you've been listening, I really appreciate you listening. Aunt Mo, I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, as it always is, and I'm glad that you're here in Michigan so we could do this, but maybe next time we'll do it when we're in Florida.
Yeah, and that's what Mo Money has to say about that.
Well,
my kids nickname me Mo Money, just so you know.
Thank you for listening to the Safe and Sound podcast. This is your host, Sean Sparkman. Please catch us next time. As always, I'm going to bring more interesting people from all over the country so that you can gain something from the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to Safe and Sound Radio with Sean Sparkman. If you have questions or would like to suggest a topic for future shows, contact Sean at 313-246-9278 or visit the website at www.safeandsoundretirement.net. That's www.safeandsoundretirement.net.
I must leave.